Well, I think it's safe to say no one expected all of that. There is so much to talk about, even the leakers are trying to catch up. Let's get into it. Okay, so today was the day. Apple just finished its second in a row virtual iPhone event, presenting what I'm calling the age of alignment for its mobile product lineup. Basically, there's some pesky loose ends that had been messing up their proverbial fade, and like many of us post-lockdown, today they finally went in for that much-needed lineup, strengthening the thread between their mobile products. But before I get into all that, you know what I'm gonna say. Like, subscribe, bell. Do it. You better do it. Have you done it? Really? Okay, good. Thank you. Tim Cook started off with a nice promo for upcoming Apple TV shows, including Season 2 for The Morning Show and Ted Lasso, and teasers for Finch starring Tom Hanks, The Problem with Jon Stewart, which I'm particularly interested in, and a bunch of others. Moving right along, they announced a new base model iPad. It houses a new A15 Bionic Chip offering better GPU, CPU, and neural engine performance. A new camera system brings improvements for video calls, including Center Stage, a feature wherein, on supported apps, the camera will track your movement, keeping the frame automatically centered on the most interesting content. iPad now supports the first-gen Apple Pencil, and the new iPad OS update also brings to it support for widgets, multitasking, and Quick Note. The new iPad will start at $329 and will be available next week, whatever that means. Much more exciting to me personally, though, is the unveiling of the new iPad mini. A significant update from the last model, the 6th generation mini comes in 4 colors: purple, pink, starlight, which is a new gold kind of color we'll be seeing a lot during this presentation, and of course, space gray. They're also selling tailor-made Smart Folio covers in matching colors. The new iPad mini adopts the popular flat edge design first seen on the iPad Pro. It sports an 8.3-inch display, and the power button contains Touch ID just like on the iPad Air. It also gets USB-C, which will make for super fast data transfer and much wider support for connecting other devices to it, like your camera, for example. And the addition of stereo speakers will no doubt make consuming content on this machine much more palatable. iPad mini will start at $499 and can also be ordered today, with availability starting next week. Next up is the Apple Watch Series 7. Everyone thought for sure we'd see a striking new flat edge design, as we have with the iPad mini and last year with the iPhone, but while there was a design change, it turned out to be a lot more minimal. Softer corners and thinner bezels make the Apple Watch look more elegant and cohesive than previous models, and finally we get a full-size keyboard to type on. They were sure to boast increased durability, including IP6X certification, which will protect you from dust, as well as a more crack-resistant crystal screen and the same WR50 water resistance. Battery life remains unchanged at a claim of 18 hours, but you can now purchase a fast-charging cable that will get the juice flowing 33% faster. It comes in 5 colors: Midnight, Starlight, Green, Blue, and Product Red. A myriad of new bands have been added, and new colors are now being sold for existing band models. The one nice thing about a minimal design change is that you don't have to replace your entire band collection, even if you don't plan to add to it right away. Apple Watch Series 7 will start at $399 for the Wi-Fi model. Apple Watch SE still sells for $279, and the Series 3 is even still available, starting at $199. To go along with the watch, Apple brought some new features to their Fitness Plus service. Support for Fitness Plus is being added to 15 additional countries, with subtitles in 6 languages. Cyclists will enjoy better pause detection and more accurate work details for e-bikes, providing me with the validation that e-bikes still count as bikes, so don't be a pretentious biker, thank you. And they've added Pilates and guided meditation, all of which will drop later this month. Nice. Group workouts add some more friendly rivalry with a competitive burn meter during workouts to keep you and up to 32 other people motivated during an intense workout. That is coming later this fall. Okay, we can finally get to the meat and potatoes. Let's talk about the iPhone. There are 2 big stories here: the new chip and the new cameras. All of the new iPhones, which include the iPhone 13, the iPhone 13 mini, iPhone 13 Pro, and iPhone 13 Pro Max, use Apple's new A15 Bionic Chip. It's based off the same 5nm architecture as last year, but has been refined somewhat to offer better CPU, GPU, and better battery. The the last of which is the most notable thing here. Now this isn't an M1 tier game changer by any stretch, but Apple is promising between 1.5 to 2.5 extra hours of battery depending on the device, and that's nothing to scoff at. As for cameras, the iPhone 13 has 2 diagonal cameras on the back, a wide angle as well as an ultra wide. The Pro series, of course, gets the additional telephoto, which now goes up to 3 times optical zoom. All models now support the sensor shift stabilization introduced in the Pros last year, as well as support for a new feature Apple's calling cinematic mode for video, which could be massive. Cinematic mode automatically detects where focus should be in a shot and swaps over when the subject changes or comes into frame. You can manually switch focus just as before, and now even lock focus by tapping twice on the current subject. But the biggest game changer of all, as far as I'm concerned, is the ability to adjust the focus after the fact in the phone's camera editor. Apple was sure to let us know that this is the first time a feature like this has been on a phone, and it really could take pro or even casual iPhone filmography to new heights. Another big video feature coming soon to the Pro models is Apple's ProRes codec. You can think of this kind of like last year's edition of ProRAW for photos. ProRes provides super high fidelity and visually lossless quality, bringing the iPhone closer and closer to the flexibility you might find in a cinema-grade camera. The Pro models are getting macro photography for shots as little as 2 centimeters away, which really kind of takes me back to my high school photography classes. Black and white moody railroad shots, anyone? Maybe not. And while we're on the subject of still photography, the last thing I want to touch on here is Photographic Styles, which, if you're familiar with editing raw photos, is like doing that editing, but to the photos before you even take the shot. The idea being that you can set your photos to look a certain way, and that thread will connect through all of your shots. This I like. As rumors suggested, iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max are getting ProMotion, which in practice just means that everything will look buttery smooth. Essentially, the screen dynamically adjusts between as low as 10 and up to 120 Hz, depending on the content, optimizing the battery while keeping the smoothest possible animations between screens, video, and perhaps most importantly, when gaming. For pricing, here's the updated lineup. No major changes or surprises, which we love to see. As for when you can get your hands on it, pre-orders will start this Friday and devices will become available the following Friday, September 24th. Whew! Well, those are the major takeaways from today's event. What did you think? Are you gonna wait until next year? Or maybe you were waiting for this kind of spiritual 12S and are excited to align yourself with an emptier bank account. Thank you for watching, everyone. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I don't need to remind you to like, subscribe, and bell because you already did in the beginning, right? I thought so. But here are 2 videos I do recommend, and hopefully I'll see you back once I've gotten to use the phones a bit. I'll see you there.